We are going to get started right now. Please come to the front of the parking area at this time. If you're not looking at the girl making this announcement, you're in the wrong spot. So come on up. Brian. Alrighty, folks. Welcome 3 o'clock. How's it going?
We're excited.
My name is Rebecca. Please do not get attached. I'm not your tour guide. Your tour guide's name is Brian. He does a really good job. You guys are going to have a really good time. One thing I like to remind everybody here when you come here is the national parks belong to everyone. And even though you paid to see Crystal Cave, this is still your tour. And so when you get down there, if you guys are excited about any particular thing, maybe it's geology or human history or watersheds, whatever it might be, please tell Brian that. If there's something that you really want to learn about, make sure he knows that. He's written a program, it's really good, but his job isn't to give his program. His job is to talk to you guys about what you guys find interesting. So help him with that by kind of contemplating on your walk down to the cave what you came here for and maybe what you're excited about learning. What my job is a little bit more boring. So all I do here is I talk to you guys about how to get to the cave safely. And it's a pretty simple talk. You just walk down. No, there's a little bit more to it than that because we do have several safety concerns here at Crystal Cave. Now, as you walk down to the cave, you will be walking down the entire time. It is a half-mile long hike. And on that hike, you're going to be walking into a canyon. And one of the things that means is that you're walking into what's called a rock fall zone. As you might guess, this means that you're walking into an area where rocks sometimes fall. Bump, bump. I get backup music sometimes. It's pretty sweet. So when you walk down to the cave, realize that you are in a rock fall zone. There's one spot in particular that we often find rocks in the morning. If they thought you guys are going to be dodging rocks, you wouldn't be going down the trail today. We don't think it's going to be a problem, but we want you guys to be prepared. That spot where we often find rocks has a red line painted down the center of it. And so when you get to that red line, just remember that Rebecca told you it's a rock fall zone. Try not to take a nap. Stuff like that. Also, make sure you stay on the trail at all times today, as there's lots and lots of poison oak that grows off trail all around the hillside. Poison oak is a glossy leafed plant. It's got 3 leaves. And if you touch it, it's going to give you a souvenir known as a poison oak rash. And it's a very, very itchy rash that lasts for a really, really long time. It is free. It's not worth it. Just stay on the trail. Finally, the last safety concern for human beings we have is that we do have rattlesnakes that live in the area. Now, if you see a rattlesnake and you want to scream, do it up. That's A-okay. The only things we don't want you guys to do to the rattlesnakes are touch them, jump over them, crawl underneath them, snap a selfie with them. Really, we just want those rattlesnakes to get left alone. Oftentimes, I've seen visitors do this when they see a rattlesnake. Whoa! Look at that. And you go back in closer to take a closer look at it. If you've never seen a rattlesnake before, they're really, really beautiful, and that's what draws people into them. But they are dangerous, and they've got a very, very thick bubble. They don't really like people being near them. And so if you see a rattlesnake, try and keep a good 8 to 10 feet between you and that snake, and it's going to move out of your way pretty soon. If it doesn't, just send somebody back up the trail, and we have the technology, it's a big pole with a grabber bit, to move that snake safely. It doesn't hurt the snake, keeps us safe, keeps all y'all safe. So that's the best thing to do. One more thing to talk about in terms of safety, and this comes mainly for cave safety, and mainly when we're talking about is that the cave is a bat habitat, and we want that bat habitat to stay safe. Because in the last 9 years, North America, the continent, has lost half, 50% of its bat habitats. You might not have heard about this on the news. It's not anything that we're doing directly to cause this damage. What's happening is that there is a fungus that is moving between caves. And it started in New York, and now it's on the eastern half of North America. And when that fungus moves into a cave, it does really well. That fungus likes living in caves, so it grows up into mushrooms, they release more spores, and those spores land all around that cave. Now when I talk about a bat habitat, what I'm really thinking about is that this is a place where bats might go in to hibernate during the winter. And so when those mushrooms release those spores, they land on those hibernating bats. And that is actually going to wake the bat up. Because as those mushrooms start to grow, they grow right on the bat. They grow on the bat's nose, ears, and wings. And that's going to take water from the bat, nutrients from the bat, and so it wakes up. Now, does anybody know why bats choose to hibernate in the wintertime? No food. Yeah, that's exactly correct. And so since there's not enough food for them to survive, they sleep through the winter. But when they wake up early because of this fungus, that is a sentence to starvation. And unfortunately, white nose syndrome, which is what we call this disease, has a 100% mortality rate with bats. And in the last 9 years, we have lost more than 7 million bats in this country. Now, eastern half does not include California. So, we do not have this fungus in our caves yet, but we really want to keep our caves safe for these bats. And so I encourage all of you guys to think about the last 10 years. Have you been to any other caves or mines? Because if you've been in a cave or a mine in the last 10 years, you might have something that's contaminated with those spores. And those spores can live for 10 whole years. Now, you'll still go into Crystal Cave today if you've been in a cave or mine in the last 10 years. I go to cave and mines all across the country all the time. They're sweet. I love them. But what we want you to do is, if you've been in a cave or mine, make sure you're not bringing anything that was in that cave or mine into our cave. So especially clothing from your hat to your shoes. We do have loaner shoes if your shoes are contaminated or potentially contaminated. We just want you to leave all that stuff up here. There are a few exceptions. Prescription eyeglasses, very important. The trail is dangerous enough. Also cameras, maybe your wedding ring, something like that. If it's something that's non-porous, so if it's 100% glass, metal, or plastic, we can disinfect that at the bookstore. So if you have anything like that, just stop by the bookstore before you head down to the cave. We on the same page? Awesome. Well, guys, you're just about to head down to the cave, and my final warning to you is this. Your cave tour will start in 25 minutes. As you walk down the trail, do not get distracted by all the pretty stuff. If you stop and enjoy yourself, you will probably miss your tour. I'm just looking out for you. Ignore everything, put the blinders on, get down the trail as quickly as you can. When you get out of the cave, you walk up the same trail, and so you'll be able to take all your pictures and take all your breaks on the way back up. Also, you're walking uphill for a half mile. You're on vacation. You do not have to do that in one straight shot. That's not fun. Have fun. Take breaks. Sit by the waterfalls you see. Enjoy the flowers. The last thing we do as I take your tickets is we're going to clean off the bottoms of your shoes. Now this started as a white nose prevention, and then it turned into just kind of like a good general policy. So none of us live in this valley, right? But Crystal Cave is used to visitors that live in this valley. And I'm talking about the animal life that might use the cave. And so we're going to clean off the bottoms of your shoes so that the only germs you're bringing into Crystal Cave are from this. And it's pretty simple. You'll step on a blue mat. You step on the mat, it's a sponge. You rock your feet back and forth. I take your ticket, and you start heading down.